What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Upper Debate. It's currently Monday, June 13th, 2022. I guess it's the final week of the finals. I'm joined tonight by Jay, Bolted, and Bib, the Vikes fan. I'm 302 Birds or Dalt. We are Up for Debate podcast, sports podcast, I should say. We got a ton of good stuff in store tonight for you guys. I mean, we'll jump right in the show. I'll kick it to Jay first because this was his topic idea, and I completely forgot about this guy. I forgot he existed for a little bit. What do you think's going to happen with him now?
The greatest player of our generation, the greatest player since Kobe Bryant, and a top 3 player of all time behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, the great Kawhi Leonard, I think will return and be back to top form, and he'll be back playing for the city of LA. Shout out to Riverside's own Kawhi Leonard from King High School in Riverside. This guy's great. Let me tell you, so we talk about all these guys who they're bus riders and not bus drivers. We had a conversation. Charles Barkley brought it up. I love KD, bus rider. Steph Curry, bus rider. LeBron James, bus rider. Anthony Davis, bus rider. My guy Kyrie Irving, I love you, bus rider. All these guys, the only guys that are bus drivers, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, and Dirk Nowitzki, who I'll bring up because he was driving that bus and they won a championship. And you got to give him love for that. You got to give Tim Duncan some love too. But at the same time, he had great all-stars around him his whole career. Kawhi Leonard being one of them. So let me tell you something. Kawhi Leonard's going to come back. He's going to win the MVP next year, and the Clippers are going to win a championship within the next 2 years because of Kawhi Leonard. Book it. He's back.
I love a lot of the things that Jay said. I think that Kawhi about to remind y'all who he is. Y'all be putting guys like, I don't know, Jason Tatum above Kawhi. Kawhi about to remind y'all who he is. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be. This is gonna be a hot take. A lot of people are gonna get outrageously mad at me for this take, but Kawhi is gonna be a top 3 player in the NBA along with Giannis and Luka next year. I think that Kawhi is fundamentally like. Number one, you can say he's going to regress all you want. The only thing I really see regressing about his game is athleticism. And anyway, his game doesn't really depend on athleticism. It depends on consistent shooting, 3-level scoring, and smart defense more than physical defense. Yes, he plays very physical defense, but like he's more of a smart defender. Like he knows what's going on the defensive end before anyone else knows what's going on. Like, he knows what the offense is doing before the offense is doing it. That's what has made him such a good defender throughout these years, and that's why they call him the Claw. And I don't think that you lose that defensive IQ because you're hurt. So the only thing that might take a dip is his athleticism. But, I mean, we've also seen guys like KD. He came back from an Achilles injury. Paul George, he had that gruesome leg injury, and he just got more skilled after that. The PG, I'm 1,000% taking post-injury PG over pre-injury PG. Pre-injury PG was more raw, more athletic, and you could argue he was a better defender. But post-injury PG was a better shooter, better 3-level scorer, better playmaker, overall more offensively skilled, had a deeper bag, better handles, worked on his handles a lot more in shooting, and also in OKC, he was in the depoy race. So yeah, and I love what Jay said about the Clippers winning a championship. I think that next year or the year after they'll get it done.
I hope so. Because I love Kawhi. Like, anybody here play NBA Playgrounds? Here we go. I'm about to make a basketball take, putting on the training wheels. But NBA Playgrounds, I always play with Kawhi. I love Kawhi. I've loved him ever since he was on the Spurs. And then when he went to Toronto, I fell even more in love with him, even though he took my team out of the playoffs. A lot of people argue if that's a travel or not, whatever. But I would love it to be the Clippers year next year. I like Paul George. I don't like him as much as I like Kawhi. But it feels like if they don't even go to the finals once, have they even made it to a Western Conference Finals yet?
They have last year.
Okay, so they've made it to a conference finals. It feels like if they don't go to the finals at least once, it was a bust. So they got to get their shit together and go to the finals. I think if they get there, they can win just because the East is kind of bad right now. Maybe the East is more consistent is a better way to put it. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I think he'll definitely be a Clipper for another year. But he goes there and say they get bumped out. Somebody in the West, the Mavericks or somebody bumps them out. what do you guys think he does after that? Do you guys think he takes his talents otherwise, or do you think he stays in LA and then they get rid of Paul George?
I think Kawhi Leonard, out of all the players in the NBA, and I know people might think it's a hot take, I think he might be one of the most loyal players, although he's been on 3 teams already thus far in his career. I think the Clippers treat him right. He's going to treat them right. He might retire a Clipper. He might be. This is the only reason I say this. Yes, he's from the area. Yes, he loves the Clippers. Yes, all that. That's fine. But a lot of players are like that. The difference between Kawhi and everyone else is that his brand is to be different than everyone else. So everyone else, you're talking about LeBron James, you're talking about KD, you're talking about all these the greatest players right now. All they want to do is switch teams and try to switch teams every 3-4 years to see who has the best roster, who has the best city, all this stuff. I think Kawhi Leonard wants to be the opposite and kind of change things up, kind of like Giannis did with Milwaukee and stayed there and won a championship with them. So that's kind of what I think with Kawhi. I think he's going to stay in LA.
Bib?
I have a feeling his Clippers tenure will be like his Spurs tenure. That like I think that he wants to. I think he wanted to stay in San Antonio until they messed up his injury management, and so I think that unless if the Clippers load manage correctly and don't do anything that he doesn't want, so like they don't. Like if he wants Paul George to stay there and they get rid of Paul George, then that would be incentive for him to leave. But I think that if the Clippers play, especially like right now, is key. If they manage his injury correctly, then I think that he'll stay there for a while. I think he'll stay there at least for a good solid like 3-4 years more, which is a long time. And he'll be like 34. He'll be 33, 34 by that point, and then he can go to another team, and then like close to 40, retire.
Oh, well, to Vib's point on the injury management, I think the Clippers missing the playoffs, which is crazy. If you guys kept up with the Clippers this year, they like had a lock-in the playoffs and they somehow blew it. It's actually a really good thing for the Clippers because if they would have made the playoffs, they probably would have forced Kawhi Leonard to play in the playoffs, and then he probably wouldn't have wanted to stay a Clipper. But since they didn't make the playoffs, he was able to rest for the rest of the offseason because he had no plans of coming back in this playoffs. The Clippers did have plans of him coming back, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to re-aggravate that injury because, like, we remember what happened, like, the whole, like, during the conference finals, like, he got injured in the semifinals against Houston. They won that conference finals game 1. He first got injured once, then Zaza Pachulia destroyed his ankle. But that ankle was already sore and was like taking a pounding during that game. And so like you definitely don't want to re-aggravate injuries like that. And that was what caused him to miss most of the next season. So
and Vib, this was your topic, so you might as well take it first as well. It's tough. I mean, all 3 of these guys are arguable. Who do you got as your RB1?
Oh my God. So shout out Fanalize Sports on TikTok. I saw a great argument by him as to why Nick Chubb is the best running back in football, and that's why it was my idea to include him in this graphic along, because the debate has usually I've seen been among Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. But now, after a closer look at it, I think that it's either Nick Chubb or Jonathan Taylor. I'm actually going to. So the thing is, I did like Jonathan Taylor's production more last year. However, Nick Chubb does win several attributes. I will say they're both their primary strength. I'd say Taylor's a better receiver. So if you want to like look at well-roundedness, you would probably go with Taylor. But they both have very similar characteristics. Chubb is probably more powerful. Taylor's probably faster and maybe more elusive, but Chubb's also very fast and elusive. So I do think that Chubb will have better quarterback play and will benefit off of that next year more next year than Jonathan Taylor. And so I think that Nick Chubb will be the best running back in football next year, and Jonathan Taylor will be second and Derrick Henry third.
Jay?
You know, I gotta go with my guitar playing brother Austin Eckler. I'm not gonna go with Austin Eckler, but I think he would be if it wasn't for Spiller. I think he's gonna do a lot of work in that Chargers offense. No, you know who I'm going with? The guy that I can't stand, who's been trashed for the past 2 years. He's not on this graphic. The guy who has disappointed the entire world for the past 2 years.
If you say
Christian
Zeke.
McCaffrey.
Oh, thank God.
Wait, who did you think I was gonna go, Dope?
Oh God!
Zeke.
If he said Zeke.
Oh,
I thought Zeke.
Zeke's
I was
like
scared you were going to say Zeke.
I think Zeke's a top 32 running back.
Zeke ain't even the best running back on his team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll go a little bit on this, but Zeke, I haven't thought that Zeke was the best running back on his team for the past 2 years. I haven't thought he was a top like 20 running back in like 3 years. And this year I think he's a top 32 running back. So I think he's like maybe like 40 at this point. But anyway, yeah, I don't like Zeke at all. But anyway, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke is not even in the conversation. Christian McCaffrey, I think he could bounce back. Christian McCaffrey has so much opportunity, and we're talking about who's the running back one, who's going to put the best numbers next year. I think that there's guys on the Colts that might be able to push for more playing time. Obviously, you have Kareem Hunt in Cleveland. You have Ernest Johnson in Cleveland as well that's going to push for playing time. Obviously, with Austin Eckler, you have Spiller who's going to push for playing time. So I really think that Christian McCaffrey can really expand in his role in Carolina and just put up crazy numbers if he stays healthy and he can get back to what he was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you said about McCaffrey. My issue, though, is who is going to stand in front of him and block. I couldn't name you one offensive lineman for the Panthers, and maybe I'm oblivious because of that. But I can name you one offensive lineman for the Colts who's going to be back healthy this year, and that's Quentin Nelson. And that's why I got Jonathan Taylor as my pick. I think the Colts are going to win games this year. I think Matt Ryan is a step up over Carson Wentz, not a big step up, but the IQ level and where that team needs to be to win games, I think that they could easily be a 9-10 win team. And that's all you need to be in a division with the Jaguars. And I hate to say it, the Titans are not going to be as good. You know, it's not that I don't think Derrick Henry can carry them. It's that they lost A.J. Brown, obviously, and they lost a couple other guys. I just think for the Titans at the end of the day, it's really hard to do that 3 years in a row. Derrick Henry can. Don't get me wrong. He's a stud, but it's going to be really hard on his body. So I think it's Jonathan Taylor's year that he seizes forward behind the Colts' dominant offensive line and having a QB with a good IQ, high IQ, and Matt Ryan. That's only going to help you guys win games and maybe potentially make a playoff push. So I really like the Colts this year.
Before we move on to the next topic, about the Panthers O-line, I do like the Panthers O-line this year, actually. They still have Taylor Moton. And then they drafted Ekwonu. I think that's it.
Yes, that was a good pick. Thank you. That
was a great pick. I mean, O-line was like a glaring weakness behind QB, of course, because Sam Darnold's terrible. But yeah, O-line was a glaring weakness. I'm so glad they got him. And then they also have Austin Corbett, who they got from the Rams. He's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that was a great pick.
I do like the Panthers O-line this year.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, we shall see. I just can never put my faith in McCaffrey, I guess. But we'll kick it to you two first, because you two are actually. I'll just go real quick because this will be easy. Give me the Warriors still. I mean, it's been a great series. The NBA might be scripted, is what I'm starting to realize. It's been fun to watch, though. I have been enjoying watching Tatum. I've been enjoying watching Deuce a little bit more. But I really want to see. I want to see Curry get another ring. I want to see it. I think that he's been single-handedly carrying this Warriors team. And you know what I love? Steve Kerr. If you guys saw that interview, Steve Kerr said, when I'm done coaching, I'm just going to thank Steph Curry. And that's awesome that he's that humble as a coach that he realizes, holy shit, this guy makes my job so much easier. Jay?
Yeah, well, I agree with that because, I mean, you seen the clips where Steve Kerr's looking at Curry like, no, like, what are you doing? And then, like, the ball goes in and he's just like, oh, good shot, you know? So, I mean, you don't really need much of a game plan when you have Curry taking deep threes and, taking shots with his eyes closed and, guys in his face and stuff like that. So, prediction, though, these are my predictions. I think the Celtics will win tonight in San Francisco. I think we'll go to Boston. I think the Warriors will win in Boston in Game 6, tie series 3-3. And I have the Warriors winning at home in San Francisco, Game 7, to win the championship. Is what I'm going to predict right now. Dalt kind of pointed to it. Seems like these games are scripted because I watched the first 3 games, felt like the Warriors forgot how to play defense in Game 1. The Celtics forgot how to play defense in Game 2. Game 3 was just an offensive explosion, and it seems like they really couldn't contain him. Game 4 I didn't watch, but it seemed like the same thing. It seemed like no one wanted to guard Steph Curry. He was uncontainable. So I don't know what's going to happen. I predict the Celtics are going to win by at least double digits in this game. I think the Celtics, I'd probably predict they win like 105-95 or something like that, 105-93. and then go to Boston and lose probably by about 20, and then go to Golden State, maybe lose by like 3. So I don't know. That's my predictions, but that's exactly what I think is gonna happen. Blowout, and then a close game in Game 7 where the Warriors pull it off.
Okay. Vib?
I think that the Warriors win tonight and the Celtics win the next 2. I have a feeling this is going to go like the Bucks series. I think that the Celtics will finally figure out eventually, because the Celtics finally figured out how to stop Giannis in Game 7, and I think that by Game 7 they'll figure out how to do that for Steph. And right now their drop coverage is not working at all. I mean, if you look at the Celtics, I mean their drop coverage has worked well. It works really well against the Bucks, because when you have a team with Giannis, like, you want to play drop coverage because you would rather live with him taking mid-range and three-pointers than driving on you. With the Warriors, with the spacing that they have, and with Steph Curry and the amount of attention that he gets, and with their illegal screens, like, which the refs literally don't call, you definitely don't want to be playing drop coverage, and you don't want to have, especially like, get your big man isolated. I think one thing that the Celtics could do is maybe even play small ball. Like, don't get your big man isolated on Steph Curry, because, like, if he drops and then Steph Curry steps back, he has enough room to shoot, and that's what they've been taking advantage of so far. But I think by Game 7, Boston figured out that they have to fix 2 things: either get rid of drop coverage or play small ball if you're going to play drop coverage. So,
hey, well, Viv, tonight I got Celtics -3.5. to beat the Warriors tonight. Let's see if they can win by 4 tonight. I think they're going to do it.
What time do they tip off tonight?
They've already started. The Warriors are up 9.
Oh, don't tell me, Viv. I'm about to watch the game after this. But I'm going to tell y'all after this game. I'm going to text you on the group chat what happens. But I'm going to be late. I'm going to be an hour behind.
We won't spoil it. But give us your spoiler for next year's Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, it's way too early. We're predicting MVP, Comeback Player of the Year. I think we did a couple others, but give me a guy, and who's your guy for Comeback Player of the Year?
Well, process of elimination here. Michael Thomas might not even play. I don't trust Michael Thomas at all anymore. Jameis Winston, Comeback Player of the Year, is tough to say because we've seen him in Tampa Bay throwing like 1,000 picks in a season.
5,000 yards though. 5,000 yards though.
Yeah, he just throwing that thing. Someone's gonna catch it, though. Someone's gotta catch it. He just throwing that thing up.
Yeah, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, anyone gonna catch those.
Yeah, he just throws the ball in there. Like, I know someone's gonna catch it, whether it be my team or other team. So I'm getting yards. But I think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are both great picks here. But my pick is gonna be the guy I mentioned earlier, Christian McCaffrey. The numbers say it's not gonna happen. Ooh. People say it's never been done before after 2 straight years of being injured like that. I mean, obviously plays for probably the worst team in professional sports, for sure, the worst team in the NFL. So there's a lot of things that are going against him. But I just think when you have a talent like that, like, I feel like we haven't seen a talent like Christian McCaffrey, really, what he does, obviously, really, like, in a while, because you have Derrick Henry, you have Jonathan Taylor, they do what they do, and, I mean, they're tremendous. Nick Chubb, we just talked about these guys. Austin Eckler kind of does what Christian McCaffrey does, which is why I like him so much, but you got Najee Harris. When you think about the best running backs, J.K. Dobbins, I feel like they don't do what Christian McCaffrey does. He's so versatile from outside the backfield. So I think if he can get back to that, pass catching, running, everything he does, I think that he could be the best player, the best running back in football, and be the comeback player of the year. And I'd be happy to see it because it's been 2 years of miserable mediocrity for him.
Mid?
I'd love to see him take. I think that he's behind a better O-line. I do think that Sam Darnold might hold him back, though. And like the Panthers, like you said, the Panthers are not a good team. So I do think that, like, one thing that's taken into consideration with comeback player of the year is also, like, I guess, success of the team. Because, like, if you've looked at most comeback player of the years, like, they have been on good teams. Like Keenan Allen was on the Chargers, who barely missed the playoffs the year he won comeback player of the year. And then Andrew Luck, like, came back and made the playoffs. He won comeback player of the year. Ryan Tannehill took the Titans to the playoffs. He won comeback player of the year. Alex Smith took the football team to the playoffs. It was stupid because they had a losing record, but still took them to the playoffs despite playing.
That's that division for you.
So he won it. And then Joey B took the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl. He won it this year. Joe Shiesty. So I think that the winning narrative doesn't help CMC or Saquon, who's another guy who I think is eligible for comeback player of the year. My pick for comeback player of the year is Lamar Jackson. Again, just like Kawhi Leonard in the NBA, Lamar Jackson, I'm about to remind y'all who he is. I firmly believe that he is a top, like he's definitely a top 10 quarterback. I see people out here disrespecting the hell out of him, putting guys like Kyler Murray above him. He's definitely top 10 easily, without a doubt, in my opinion. I think because I did a lot of research on this, and like the Ravens offense, number one, they were first in offensive efficiency, first in most offensive metrics, in both rushing and passing and overall in 2019 when Lamar won MVP. Even when Lamar was on the field in 2020 and 2021, before he missed 4 games in 2021 and the 2 games he missed in 2020, the Ravens were top 5 in offensive efficiency and success rate on offensive plays, both rushing, or they were top 3 in rushing success plays and like top 8 or 10 in passing plays, which is overall top 5 offensive efficiency and success. And that's something that not a lot of teams can replicate. I think that Lamar's offensive impact, despite his stats may not show it in the last or his last year's stats don't exactly show it, I think his offensive impact makes him more than deserving of being a solid top 10 quarterback, closer to top 5 than people think.
I'm with both you guys. I think what you said is both right. I like both your picks. I mean, it's tough. Like this award, I feel like Lamar is what I'm trying to say won't count as a comeback player of the year because they won't. It's not the story they want. Does that make sense? Like Mike Thomas, I could see maybe. Derrick Henry, I think, is like obviously the front running favorite. Jameis Winston would be fun. I would love to see that one personally. I don't know. I think that McCaffrey, though, I really like Jay's pick. McCaffrey, I think, is a really good one to bet on, too. Because McCaffrey, think about it, just really needs to put up 1,000 yards, total yards. He just needs to be a fantasy beast for all of us and everybody to vote and be like, this guy deserves it. He's so good again. Welcome back. You know, like that's what the NFL wants. They want a comeback player of the year. They want a sob story per se, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But moving on now to our next topic. This shit was crazy. Jay, I want you to tell me how you would feel about this first. Tyreek Hill said that I believe, if I'm saying this correctly, that quote unquote Tua is a more accurate short passer than Patrick Mahomes.
Well, this is funny because I was actually expecting Tyreek Hill to at some point this season say that he thinks Tua is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I was expecting it. I don't believe it, but I was expecting it because he's your quarterback. Now, the short-term passing thing, I mean, Tua is good at it. He does have good short accuracy. He doesn't throw the ball deep. I think he has 140-plus yard touchdown his entire career out of hundreds of attempts. So, I mean, that's what he does is he throws the ball short. So if you want to say that, you can say that. I have no problem with him saying that about Tua Tagovailoa comparing to Patrick Mahomes. But I take this back to one of the biggest things I always take things like this back to is when the Portland Trailblazers, led by Dame Lillard and nobody else, him and Alex Collins and CJ McCollum, against KD, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and a bunch of other great players on that team. And they asked him, they said, Dame Lillard, do you think you're going to get swept today? Do you think you're going to get swept in this series? Do you think you have a chance? And he says, no, I think we have a chance to win the series. Well, what is he supposed to say? Is he supposed to tell you the truth? That we're going to get swept? That we're going to lose 4-0 and it's going to be bad? It's not going to be close? Do you expect Tyreek Hill to say, Tua Tagovailoa is a far worse quarterback than Patrick Mahomes? I wish I was playing with Patrick Mahomes again. I wish I could have another crazy season where I'm just catching crazy, 50-yard bomb touchdowns, once every 2 games or whatever he was doing. Of course he's not going to be able to say that because he's on the Dolphins now. He has to get the fan base behind him. He has to get people hyped up. He has to sell tickets. He has to get people watching these games, which they're going to watch. And I think they're going to be happy. Do I think it's true that Tua is I don't know if it's true. It's probably not true. But he's got to find something to say good about Tua Tagovailoa. And it's hard to say when you're comparing him to your last quarterback, who's Patrick Mahomes, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Hey, but he's good at short passing, though. I mean, that means something, right? I mean, everybody's like, oh, you don't understand. The Dolphins are going to be so good. Tua is a great short passer, and Tyreek Hill is good on the slant. Tyreek Hill could be the best slant runner. I do not think that it's going to be comparable to the Tyreek Hill we saw in Kansas City. I'm sorry. I don't want to let you down, Dolphins fans. I hope that I'm wrong because damn, Tyreek Hill is going to look good in turquoise and orange. But at the end of the day, I mean, Tua's going to have to be like a level up quarterback than he was last year. And I just am not convinced yet personally. They're like, oh, this slant pass. Tyreek Hill is really good at that. Teams are going to put a middle linebacker right there, and that's going to end real quick. Or they're going to pick it. It's predictable. At the end of the day, what Tyreek Hill was good at was, he can take it off the top. He can run you with a slant. He can run a good medium route. He can run an out route. He can run any route. That's what he's good at. And when you say to Tua, okay, you have one route that you're good at, that's going to limit Tyreek Hill's potential, his gameplay, and ultimately his production. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not convinced. Vib?
Yeah, I think that Tua has a lot of issues in this game that I would hope that he fixes going into year 3, because maybe now that he is the best receiver that he's had in his short career, that he has like more confidence to throw it down the field and like use and like develop or use the arm strength that he wasn't using previously. I definitely don't think that Tyreek Hill will, at least from a production standpoint, he definitely won't produce in Miami the way he was producing in Kansas City. I do think that his impact in Miami could be greater felt in Kansas City, because like in Kansas City, like, don't get me wrong, they needed it's not like they didn't need Tyreek Hill, but they could survive without Tyreek Hill. There were games which he would get injured and they would still win, and Mahomes would still go off because he's Patrick Mahomes, and they still have Travis Kelce, good O-line, Andy Reid as their head coach, Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator. There's not really much more you could ask for if you're Kansas City. But Miami doesn't really have any of that. So I do think that he will make a greater impact in Miami for compromising statistical production just because he's playing with the worst quarterback. But as for Tua short accuracy, Jay is right. What is he supposed to say? Oh yeah, I wish I was playing with Mahomes again. He can't say that. Like he's bound to his team. The same thing, like there's this really funny clip of Chris Paul, which is like, the reporter asked him, Chris, will the Clippers be back here for Game 7? And Chris Paul was like, "Come on, man, and I totally agree with him." He's like, "Come on, man. There's a reason everyone here laughing. What did you expect me to say? Oh no, we're not gonna be here. We're not gonna be back here for Game 7. Like we're gonna lose today. What do you expect him to say?" If he truly believes that, then yeah, he's tripping. Tua definitely does not have any better characteristic than Patrick Mahomes, but he doesn't really, does he really have a choice? Kevin Durant said Kyrie Irving and James Harden were better teammates of his than Steph Curry. But, did he have a choice? No. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the All-Star game over Steph Curry in 2021. Didn't have a choice.
I got a question for y'all real quick since we're on this topic. You brought it up real quick. Yes or no? With the addition of Devontae Adams and the subtraction of Tyreek Hill, does that make Darren Waller the #1 tight end production-wise this year in the AFC West?
Kelce.
I'm going Kelce too, by the way. I'm still going Kelce. I think the double team stuff is BS. I'm going Kelce too. I'm with you.
I'll lock it in and I'll say yes, production-wise. I think that Devontae Adams is only subject to get double covered. So I'll play devil's advocate and I'll say yes, because with all that talk with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, teams kind of know what he can do now too. They're not going to take him as light. I think Darren Waller coming off of an injury, teams are going to forget about him and how dominant he can be. So I'll play devil's advocate and say, yeah, give me Waller over Kelce, because also Kelce's going to be the primary receiver now. No matter what you say with Juju, Kelce's going to still be the primary guy in Kansas City.
You're taking Donald Parham over everyone in the AFC West this year. I'm just playing.
You're absolutely right, but I don't think that people can manage to double Kelce just because, like, if you put a linebacker on him, he'll outrun it. And then if you put a DB on him, he'll moss them. If you put two DBs on him, then he'll still moss. But
what about a linebacker and a DB?
Then you're just diverting too much attention away. Then you just destack your box. They can run it on you. You aren't prepared for possibilities when you're dealing with the Chiefs.
Andy Reid.
If you double Travis Kelce, or if you put everyone is a mismatch for Travis Kelce, and if you double him, you risk opening up yourselves to other receivers or the run game. The thing about the Raiders is, I will tell you this much: Darren Waller was getting a very healthy target share when he was healthy, and I don't think that he will get that same target share with Devontae Adams now in the picture. Renfro just locked up that big extension, but I definitely do think that Darren Waller is somebody that a lot of people are sleeping on to produce. I think he'll produce great. He's got a lot of elite characteristics. He's got very good hands. He's very fast. Like he can get yak. He can make like big plays out of small plays. He's very good at he's a very good deep threat, which is like Carr's specialty. So I do think that his production will still be there. I just do think that he will have to do it on less targets.
And you just said it perfectly, Vib. Sleepers.
Ooh.
You want to take it first, Jay?
Yeah, I'll take it because you know my answer already. If we're going on this graphic, you know my answer already, though. I don't got to say. Guess my answer. Just say who it is.
Oh, I know. I put him on here just for you now. I got it. I got you. Yeah, let everybody know. I love it.
Greasy Hall, baby. No, I'm just playing. Davis Mills, of course. Dalton knew who it was. Davis Mills is going to – I don't even know if that's Greasy Hall. 35 is Greasy Hall. Anyway.
It is Greasy Hall. You got it right. And I love that, Jay, because I read your mind. I knew that this guy would be your sleeper. Jay didn't even have to tell me when I was making this graphic. I was just like, oh, Davis Mills. That's who Jay will need.
Davis Mills is my fantasy sleeper. And it's crazy because I don't even want to call him a sleeper anymore. I've done like 3 drafts so far for this season. And every time someone snaps Davis Mills before I can get him. I'm trying to get him like in like the 16th round or something like that. And I'm like, maybe he'll fall. And he gets snatched up. And then here I am like drafting like, whoever the heck is left. Like I think I had like Daniel Jones in one of them or something. I don't know, whoever I could possibly get after Davis Mills. But in like the 19th or 20th round, I just grabbed. But what I'm saying is Davis Mills is not like I think he's gonna have a top. I want to say for sure a top 20. I think he's gonna be at least quarterback 20. But I think he's gonna have a top 15 year this season just because of what he did last year. Look, get another year in the offseason off his belt. Now he knows he's gonna be started coming in the next season. I think he's gonna be better. And this is where I don't want to get too much into it. But the whole Deshaun Watson only won 4 games, had a bad team. I think Davis Mills in the second. I haven't looked at the schedule too hard. I think they can win 5 games this year under Davis Mills. I think they have an upgrade at quarterback, in my opinion, from Deshaun Watson to Davis Mills. Although I think Deshaun Watson is an upgrade from Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying that Deshaun's trash. I'm just saying I think Davis Mills is really good, and it's an upgrade for the Texans to have him at quarterback.
First of all, no comment. Second of all, my fantasy sleeper for this year, is my Minnesota guy, Rashad Bateman from the Baltimore Ravens. They just got rid of Marquise Brown. It's Rashad Bateman's time. He said it on sub. He was like on the podcast like the day after Marquise Brown got traded. He was like, "Yeah, I was sad to see him go, but it's my time." And yes, the Ravens drafted him in the first round for a reason. He's their dude. And I saw him even play against us. Like he was great against us. He caught I'm pretty sure he caught 9 targets for 100 yards or something like that. He was really good. And so I think that he can keep up. I think that if he produces like that on a consistent basis, Lamar will finally have that reliable number 1 target, which he's kind of lacked, not going to lie. Or reliable receiver, because Mark Andrews is not a receiver as good as he is. So, yeah, Rashad Bateman's my fantasy sleeper for this year. And I think I'm going to target him in my drafts.
You know who I thought you were going to say? What's his name? KJ Osborne. I love KJ Osborne. I thought he would have been.
I love KJ. But I'm not going to lie. The only reason I would probably get KJ in fantasy is as injury insurance if I had Adam Thielen.
I think he'll be a late guy. That's kind of how I feel about Quez Watkins, later guy. Like Jarvis Landry, that's a sleeper. Devontae Parker, I think, is a great sleeper on the Patriots. He's going into a system now where Mac Jones needs help. Aguilar's there, and Jay brought his name up earlier briefly. Breece Hall. He's in a great scenario right now where the Jets have a decent offensive line. I don't want to say great yet, but decent, improved. Zach Wilson, a young QB. He could be that guy. Davis Mills, I like what Jay says there. I do think that he played well for where he was drafted last year. Could have been a hell of a lot worse, and that's a really good point. But my biggest sleeper for next year is got to be my LSU guy, Jarvis Landry. I think that Jarvis is going to thrive. I think that Michael Thomas is going to be decent next year. I just think that teams are going to forget about Jarvis Landry and how good he is, especially playing in Louisiana. Something's going to be in the water. Something's going to be in the juice, as they call him, Juice Landry. And that actually gets me into our next and final topic, talking about my LSU boys, my guys. OBJ, he still doesn't have a team. I don't know. Why don't I kick it to our guy out in Cali? Have you heard any word from OBJ if he's going back to the Rams or anything?
Yeah, well, me and OBJ were actually hanging out having brunch on Sunset over the weekend. And, of course, he was more focused on the women that were walking by, down the boulevard than he was anything else. But I did hear some rumblings, actually. Now, this sounds crazy, and it's maybe because now I'm involved with Charger groups and circles, but I've been hearing that he may want to go to the Chargers. Is that true? I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've been hearing a lot on Twitter, actually. When every time I check Twitter and I see something about that. So I don't know if that's true or not. I want to rule out the Packers. I don't think he's going to go to the Packers. I think the Ravens could be a fit. I want to rule out the Browns would be the dumbest pick possible. He just left the Browns. He couldn't stand the Browns. Why would he go back? He hated the Browns. That makes sense. I don't know why he goes to the Browns. And he's probably not going to get Baker Mayfield's probably going to get Jacoby Brissett. So I don't think the Browns is an option for him. I don't know, though. What do I know? I don't know. It's OBJ. It's, unpredictable. But the Rams, I think the smart decision is to go to the Rams, take some time off, ease your way back in, come back, make a nice little end of season stretch, make the playoffs. You're back in the Super Bowl next year, most likely, as Tom Brady's defense doesn't give up on them like they did in the playoff game against them last year. The defense just doesn't play like idiots. Tom Brady's back and probably wins another Super Bowl. Anyway, that's another story. But you're back in the hunt if you play for the Rams again. So I think he's going to the Rams. If you go to the Chargers, I think that'd be great for them to have that slot receiver with Keenan and Mike Williams. But I would say the Rams is where I think he'll go. But officially, I'm going to say the Chargers. Both up.
I agree with you, though. I think it could definitely be the Rams. I think that's a smart decision. Go on a one-year deal, take a pay cut, go try to get another ring. It's great for the career. You like the Rams. Stafford and you seem to gel well. And then you go and you wait another year, and then you go get a bigger contract somewhere else. Maybe the Saints say Jameis Winston isn't our guy, and they're ready to go get a QB, and then you come into the mix with Olave and fucking Jarvis Landry. The Browns, though, I'll play devil's advocate. I would love to see this. Imagine him going back to the team, and he's just like, you know what? Fuck Baker Mayfield. He was the reason I didn't want to come here. And imagine if he just balls when he goes back. Like, Deshaun Watson ends up playing, which I don't think will happen. But Amari Cooper and him team up, and that just goes really, really well. The Ravens, I don't really see them spending the money on it after they've spent with everything. I think that the Packers, though, is the most logical. They need a wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers needs a big-name guy. I do think that they drafted well, but they could still really use that last piece, I think, to solidify them winning the division, because I'm not 100% convinced on them. So it's going to be really interesting to see where he will go, but it seems like he's taking his time with this decision, and I don't think that there's more Odell thing to do.
Anyone but the Packers, please. But yeah, I think that the best thing for him to do here is sign a cheap deal with the Rams, get himself another ring, and then go pursue a bigger deal next offseason. I also think that the Ravens are honestly intriguing. I think that, I love Rashad Bateman. I really do. I think that it would really be intriguing, though, if he was there, because, like, he can do everything, pretty much everything on the field. And, like, he would be, like, really, really good as, like, another receiver to add for Lamar if you want to build around him. But, yeah, I see the Rams and Ravens. And also the Rams and Ravens have the cap space to do it. The Browns and Packers, not so much. So, the Rams also not necessarily. I think they're pretty deep into the cap space. If you're looking at it from a money standpoint, because that's sometimes, like, how I like to consider things based on the money. I think the Ravens makes the most logical sense. If you're looking at it from where is he most likely to win a ring standpoint, the Rams make the most sense. If you're looking at best quarterback standpoint, the Packers makes the most sense. But God forbid he goes to the Packers.
Oh, the places OBJ will go. That's a great title, dog. I like that. Hey, I want to tell you something. This is like random. I know we're about to get out of here. I heard this joke, and I've told it like 7 times, and I didn't understand it until the last time I told it. But Charles Barkley said, This man said, "I would never buy my girl a watch." And he said, "Why?" Because there's a clock on the stove, and I didn't get it. And I finally got it. I'm like, "Wow, it's really messed up, Charles Barkley." I didn't get it until right. I don't know, but I thought it was funny at first, and now it just seems really misogynistic. But anyway,
I have a Barkley jersey in my closet. That's why it's such a Chuck thing to say.
there's a clock on the stove.
But on that note, I mean, that's all we got for you guys this week. I'm sorry, guys, that these episodes are a little bit quicker in the offseason. There's just only so much we can talk about as all three of us being diehard NFL fans. The good news is it's June 13th. Look at it this way, guys. We got about 2 more weeks left in June, 4 weeks to get through in July, and then about 3 weeks in August, and football will be back in full swing. So we got about 8 weeks, 9 weeks. We're almost there. But we do appreciate everybody's support in the offseason. I'm very excited to see what we can do come the regular season. And I want to thank both these awesome gentlemen for coming on the show tonight with me. And I hope everybody has a good week. Peace.